Hi fellow reefers, this is Eddie of Eddie's Reef Aquaria. Today's video I'm going to talk briefly about what's the nitrogen cycle and how I go about cycling the tanks, especially now this one coming up. Okay, what happens is that excess nitrogen will produce ammonia. Now the ammonia is actually produced from the excess proteins, the excess food that you give, like let's say, to your fish. Just to give you a brief type of an example. Now, ammonia, believe it or not, is one of the first bacteria that is created when you start the cycling process. Now, after that, once the ammonia becomes what they call oxidated, then it turns into nitrites, which is a second type of bacteria. Now, both of these are very, very harmful to fish. That's why what I'm going to use, the method that I'll be using, and the methods that lately is being used is called phantom feeding or ghost feeding, where you don't use fish because it's very cruel to buy a hardy fish like a damsel and put it there so it does the ammonia, the nitrogen cycle and all that, and it actually will stress out or eventually die. So now lately what's been used is what they call, again, like I said, ghost feeding or phantom feeding. Now it is known that fish will release ammonia through their actual gills. So that's why that when you feed or you overfeed fish, it can be either freshwater, saltwater, reef. When you overfeed them, that's why you might have a situation where your ammonia might go up a little bit, or your nitrates might go up. Now, going back to where I left off, I thought I plugged that in a little bit. So as I was saying, the second type of bacteria that starts to colonize is the nitrates. Now, the nitrates, as I said before, is also very harmful to fish. So when somebody asks us, well, what's the best reading when you test ammonia and nitrates? The answer is no reading. You should actually have zero ammonia and zero nitrites. Now, going further, then it develops, the nitrates now will oxidize and will go into nitrates. And of course, nitrates is very, very less harmful than the previous ones that I just mentioned. Now, once you test your waters, like let's say once a week, once every 3 or 4 days, or once a week, you keep checking it to see how the cycle is going, and you see that you have zero ammonia and zero nitrites, that's what's called the tank has been cycled. Now, this can take, it depends. It can take a few weeks. It can take 5 weeks, 4 weeks. It all depends. Some people use live rock, and that right there, of course, is going to have bacteria. Others, like in my case, in this project that I'm about to launch, I'm using dry rocks. Although I have read that no matter if it's dry rocks, they do have bacteria. Everything in life has bacteria. So if you want to go the slow process, you really don't have to do anything. You just go ahead and add the salt water, maintain your temperature roughly around 80, and it'll eventually start to colonize, and you'll see that the ammonia will start to go up, and then you're going to have nitrites that are going to go up, and then they're going to cancel out, and you're going to have some nitrates. But that's the long, long way. If you decide to go that route, again, as I said, you don't have to do anything. You just put the salt water, maintain around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and just let it do its work. Now, the process that I'm going to use to do the nitrogen cycle, the cycling, is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add by Dr. Tim's. I'm going to add ammonia chloride. That's the first thing that I'm going to add. Salt water, and of course, temperature of 80. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add ammonia chloride. Now once I test adding the ammonia chloride and I see it reaches a certain level, then that's when I'm going to kick start and start with a Microbacter 7 by Brightwell Aquatics. Then I'll start checking and checking and checking. Of course, the ammonia chloride is going to kick start the bacteria, and then it's going to start to colonize more and more and more. And that's where I'll be checking the parameters. Now, where does the mysis shrimp come in? Well, the mysis shrimp are used also mainly for ghost feeding, or again, phantom feeding. So what I'm going to do is, when I see that I have zero ammonia and zero nitrites, although nitrates are always going to be present, a little of it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check how the cycling is doing, and I'm going to add, let's say, a cube of frozen mysis shrimp, and see, wait like a couple of days, or let's say, a week, 7 days, and then check again. Check the ammonia, see if it went up a little bit and it dropped. Check the nitrites, see if it went up and it dropped. And then, of course, always check your nitrates. Now, once I see that, this would be like the actual, shall we call it, like there was actually a fish there. Although the ammonia chloride is going to kickstart the Microbacter 7, the bacteria, but this would be like taking place of an actual fish. So before I introduce my first fish here, this would be the equivalency. It's like a safety net. You can actually cycle a tank with ammonia chloride bacteria, and once you get zero on ammonia and nitrites, you're good to go. The tank is cycled. But what I'm going to do is, just to check these two, I'm going to go ahead and add a cube of mysis shrimp and see how it reacts. See if it consumes the ammonia that this would bring with it, of course. See if it consumes it, if it goes up a little bit, it goes down to zero, and then nitrites. And once I see that, when I add the mysis shrimp, then in my case, that's when I would say, okay, the tank is cycled. Then your final step is to actually go ahead and do a water change. Wait a couple of days, check again your nitrites or nitrates, your, of course, your ammonia, and if everything is on zero except the nitrates, you're going to have a little, you're good to go. Then that's when you were at your first fish. So that's it. That's basically what I wanted to touch bases. Briefly, what the nitrogen cycle is and how I would go about testing and the additive that I'm going to use, and how would I double check using the mysis shrimp. Whoops. So that being said, I do want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it educational, interesting. If you did, hit the thumbs up. And you're welcome to subscribe to my channel.